Our top focus at 8, speaking in the United States after his meeting with US President Barack Obama, Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif blamed India for cancellation of talks. His troops opened fire along the line of control, killing one civilian and injuring another. And while Pakistan has once again resorted to rhetoric on Kashmir, it can't turn a blind eye to the discontent within Balochistan, as Nawaz Sharif was heckled by a Baloch protester in Washington. Adding to Pak Prime Minister's woes, even the LET hit out at Sharif for promising to act against UN-designated terror groups. Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif kept up his attack, warning that India's arms build-up will compel Pakistan to take several countermeasures. After coming to power 2 years ago, Sharif claimed that he had made several sincere efforts to improve relations with India, holding India responsible for cancellation of Foreign Secretary-level talks. He said that India cancelled the talks on flimsy grounds. In his address, Sharif also blamed India for narrowing talks to just the issue of terrorism.
I have made sincere efforts to improve relations with India. I was one of the first to congratulate Prime Minister Modi on his electoral victory in May 2014. I accepted his invitation to attend his swearing-in ceremony. However, the positive momentum generated by that meeting was halted when New Delhi cancelled the Foreign Secretary-level talks on a flimsy excuse.
सदर ओबामा के साथ मुलाकात में हिंदुस्तान के साथ पाकिस्तान के ताल्लुकात के हवाले से भी गुफ्तगू हुई और मैंने सदर ओबामा को बताया कि पाकिस्तान एक पुरअमन नेबरहुड का ख्वाहिशमंद है और इसी जज्बे के तहत मैं हिंदुस्तान के वज़ीर-ए-आज़म से मिला। बदकिस्मती से हिंदुस्तान की तरफ से हमें मस्बत जवाब नहीं मिल सका। कश्मीर का तनाज़ा भी ज़ेर बहस आया और सदर ओबामा ने इस बात पर इत्तफ़ाक़ किया कि ये दरीना मसला हल होना चाहिए और इसका ये आपके जॉइंट स्टेटमेंट के अंदर भी इसका जिक्र है जो इशू हुई है। LOC पर कशीदगी पर भी बात हुई और ये इत्तफ़ाक़ किया गया कि एक मौसर मैकेनिज़्म की अशद ज़रूरत है ताकि ये फायरिंग के सिलसिले को जिसके नतीजे में पाकिस्तान साइड पे बहुत सारी हलाकतें हुई हैं इसको रोका जा सके। हमने ये डोजियर जो है ये सेक्रेटरी कैरी को कल दिया था और ये पहले हम यूनाइटेड नेशंस को भी दे चुके हैं और कल हमने इस पर बात भी की और डोजियर उनके हवाले किया तो उन्होंने डोजियर को वसूल किया, रिसीव किया और यकीनन अब आगे मज़ीद उस पर तबादला ख्याल होगा और बातचीत होगी।
Even as Pakistan steps up its rhetoric against India, its duplicity was exposed. Treachery number 1, repeated attempts to revive cake campaign on international platforms. Number 2, ignores cries to free Balochistan, attacks India on Kashmir. Number 3, Indian jawans and civilians are killed in ceasefire violations along the LOC. Number 4, provokes India, then complains and shifts blame. Let's get a word from Shiv Arur, who's with us live from our newsroom this morning. Shiv, Nawaz now squarely blaming India for breakdown of talks.
Well, you know, nothing that Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif has said is something that India hasn't expected. It was always expected that Prime Minister Sharif, after, you know, a literal series of abortive attempts to try and internationalize relations with India, the Kashmir issue, you know, have completely failed. It's obvious that, you know, given a platform of this kind at this US IP platform that he got in the United States, he would talk about, you know, the breakdown of talks between India and Pakistan and try and put the onus and the blame on India by saying that India cancelled the NSA level talks because of a flimsy excuse. Well, let's try and remind, you know, both the Nawaz Sharif as well as Pakistan that the talks were cancelled for very good reasons, as a matter of fact, because India had said the talks will be about terror. Let's start talking about terror. unconditionally on terror itself. Even India conceding that terror is a problem as far as Pakistan is concerned, but Pakistan was adamant. They were very strong-willed about it. They said, no, it can't just be about terror. It has to also be about Kashmir. It was obviously a spanner in the works. I mean, Pakistan's stubbornness in this regard showed that they had no willingness to actually enter into dialogue with India in that particular instance, and that's why India was forced to actually, take that decision, because Pakistan's, modus operandi in the past as well is to constantly try and bring up Kashmir. India has said Kashmir cannot be on the table when we're trying to make exploratory gestures towards each other and bring the dialogue process back on track. So let's start talking about the common minimum denominator, and that's terror as far as India and Pakistan is concerned. And that's something that Pakistan was not willing to. And that's why you've got Nawaz actually lamenting, the decision that India took and trying to blame India for it now on an international platform.
And Shiv, given the level of rhetoric, what's the possibility of a thaw in relations anytime?
Well, things are at a low point. Let's make no mistake as far as India and Pakistan is concerned. Foreign Secretary level talks were cancelled last year. NSA level talks, didn't happen this year. Constant, many threads of hostility between the two countries. On the one hand, the political animosity between the two sides, the diplomatic, sort of freeze between both the sides. No talks actually happening. As far as cultural exchanges, there has been tension. As far as the Shiv Sena is concerned, the Indo-Pak cricket series talks have completely broken down with the BCCI. So on every front, there are problems at this point of time. So to actually, try and conjecture on when there could be a thaw in those relations is tough to see. But what we can say for sure at this point of time is Pakistan is continuing to ratchet up the rhetoric. They're continuing to use, all available international platforms, or the few platforms where, Pakistani leaders actually find a pride of place, to try and internationalize the issue, to try and ratchet up rhetoric against India, to raise Kashmir, to take this beyond a bilateral relationship. They failed so far. Nawaz Sharif was squarely snubbed at the United Nations. He's been told before by the United States that this is an issue between you and India. You can't, look to try and internationalize this on international fora. And, this is the US IP is one place where Nawaz Sharif, doesn't require an answer. He just gets to say what he wants to say. And I imagine that's the reason why he's talked about India's so-called flimsy excuses to cancel talks and about the centrality of the Kashmir issue.
Shiv, thanks so much for that update. We're going to keep coming back to you for more. Meanwhile, Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif was heckled by a protester during his address at the US Institute of Peace. A protester raised Free Balochistan slogans, calling him a friend of bin Laden. He was holding a poster demanding freedom for Balochistan. Resuming his address after the protester was taken out of the auditorium, Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif blamed India for cancellation of NSA level and Foreign Secretary level talks. Nawaz Sharif urged the United States to play a bigger role in reducing tensions between India and Pakistan. Meanwhile, Lashkar-e-Toiba has flayed Pakistani Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif for promising action against a terror group during his meeting with US President Barack Obama. Lashkar spokesperson said Nawaz Sharif's assurance to the United States was aimed at pleasing New Delhi, and the statement has hurt the sentiments of people in Kashmir. Pakistan Prime Minister promised action against all terrorist networks, including Lashkar-e-Toiba, in a joint statement issued after his meeting with Barack Obama on Thursday. Let's get now out from Kaswar Klaswa, who's with us live from Islamabad this morning. Kaswar, Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif blaming India squarely for cancellation of NSA level and Foreign Secretary level talks. But even as that plays out, we're seeing a number of ceasefire violations along the LOC this morning.
Yes, I think there was nothing new in Pakistani point of view when it comes to vis-a-vis with India. So everything he talked about India during the meeting with President Barack Obama, everything was well prepared, and there was not a single new allegation which Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif has leveled against India.
Absolutely, and Kaswar, also interesting to see that Nawaz Sharif said that they will be acting against all US designated terror organizations, prompting a sharp response from the LET.
Yes, that was a point. That was a point. Thank you very much for pointing out it. One thing that I wanted raise it. The Pakistani side, Pakistani Prime Minister has had for the first time at one of the biggest international forums, he realized that the Pakistan will have to take action against banned outfits. And it was really interesting to see that Pakistani Prime Minister has assured President Barack Obama that yes, Pakistan is willing to take action against Lashkar-e-Taiba and other banned outfits that are present in Pakistan. So I think it was a very good development when it comes to when it comes to Pakistani side. So it was the outcome of the meeting. So when Pakistani side talks about the cancellation of NSA talks when it comes to Kashmir and Indians' meddlation in Balochistan, there was nothing new. But one thing that is very much important, and I can say it was the outcome of President Barack Obama and Prime Minister's meeting, that was the Pakistani side's willingness to take action against Lashkar-e-Taiba and other banned outfits.
And Kasper, embarrassment for Pakistan as well. We saw slogans, freedom for Balochistan slogans being raised in Washington. This is, of course, this is where activists claim that the army has been indulging in murders.
I think it was just a blame game because we have seen the report that some section of people have been blaming Pakistan's army in Gilgit-Baltistan and then even in Balochistan. So I think there is no proof against Pakistan army, and I don't see anything important in these allegations, because long time people belonging to Pakistan's outfit band organization, they have been long time they have been blaming Pakistan army to be involved in murder and other things. But I don't see anything at this point that Pakistan army is involved in such a thing. So it was just a blame game, what I believe at the moment.